Welcome back, guys. We got another episode of the Jock Talk Show podcast. We got Matt, blurry Matt. We got Brock. How we doing today, Brock?
Oh, pretty good. Getting into the draft. It's an exciting time of the year. I know it's your favorite time.
That's right.
I'm really getting into it this year, really doing a little more scouting on prospects because, Packers need a lot of skill positions, and there's a lot of good players out there this year. I think it really makes a tough draft. It can go a handful of ways.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, with that being said, something that we're trying or that we're doing for the first time on air or putting it on record is we are doing our round one mock draft 1.0. Brock and I, what we did was we flipped a coin. I got the odds, Brock got the evens, and then we just went through and we picked not what we think is going to happen or what we think should happen, but it's what would we do if we're the GM. So some of the picks may be a little bit surprising. We'll have some explanations for them. We're going to be pretty obvious. And when we come out with mock draft 2.0, Brock will be the odds and I'll be the evens. So who knows? By then we may get some more pro day news. We may get some off the field issues and the stuff that always pops up that causes people to rise and to fall. So for example, this is being recorded at least on March 31st. So Terrace Marshall and Jamar Chase just absolutely blew up.
Yep.
The LSU Pro Day. Kyle Pitts just continued to show why he's maybe the best player in this draft. So before we get started, Brock, you got anything else?
Make sure you like and subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, wherever you can find us. Jock Talk Show. We'll be there. Always like interacting with the fans, especially around this time. Get to hear a lot of opinions on who your team wants to draft or who do you think the Packers should draft or whatnot. So it's a fun time. It's a lot of interactions, a lot of different opinions on why we should do what and who should go where. So it's definitely a fun time, and I'm excited. I'm excited this next. We're almost a month away from the draft now.
A month, yeah.
Yeah, just a little under a month now. So it's going to be a fun, jam-packed, full month of draft news and all that stuff. So let's get right into it.
It's a good month.
Yeah, let's get right into it.
So again, I had the odds, I had the evens. So we're going to kick this baby off. The number one overall pick obviously belongs to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Again, this is what would we do. So maybe a little bit of surprise here. Jacksonville, number one overall pick. Nah, just kidding. We're going with Trevor Lawrence. I mean, it's obvious. He's one of the best, most all-around QB prospects that
probably since
has been around in our lifetime. Since Andrew Luck. So, he's there's not much that needs to be said that hasn't already been said. So we're just going to move on. Pick number New York Jets. Brock.
Number 2, I got the Jets. I mean, after watching a lot of the pro days, most of these top prospects have been really showing greatness, a lot of them, and really helping themselves out. Especially for me, I went back and forth on this pick, but ultimately I think the Jets will move on from Sam Darnold, and I would pick Justin Fields out of Ohio State. I mean, he tore up his pro day, throwing some dimes, some bombs, and just playing really well. Great 40 time. I think Robert Saleh over there will get a quarterback that he really wants to develop. I think Justin Fields is it.
Yeah, I mean, these quarterbacks, what you're looking for during these pro days is, they should excel. So I think it says more about the guys who come out and flame than what it does for the guys who just do really well, because you should do really well in a set. Everything is set up for you in a perfect environment. So with that being said, The San Francisco 49ers have the third pick after last weekend's trades. So I think that they traded up for a quarterback. What I would do in this situation is, without a doubt, go with a quarterback. So I'm going with Zach Wilson, BYU. I think he's good on the field. He's going to sell tickets off the field. He's being compared to Patrick Mahomes, but he's got the face, he's got the attitude where he's going to help sell tickets. And not that the Niners need that right now, but it doesn't hurt, obviously. So Zach Wilson, BYU, number 3 to San Francisco.
Yeah, I mean, he showed out in his pro day as well, making some incredible throws on the run. So I think that will help make their offense even a little bit more dynamic. Even though Jimmy G isn't your greatest quarterback, he can't really sling it all around the field, but he's a solid quarterback. But I think Zach Wilson gives you a new wrinkle. But at number 4, went back and forth for the Falcons on who I would like to pick. I think ultimately they will go Trey Lance, have him sit behind Matt Ryan for a year. That's what I would go. I would go Trey Lance just to give him some veteran experience and see how Matt Ryan handles himself on and off the field. I think ultimately that will help the Atlanta Falcons and the direction they want to go.
Yeah, I think just before we move on, that a lot of people are like, oh, what if Trey Lance comes in and the fans want him over Matt Ryan? Well, you really haven't seen a team pick a quarterback pushing out a future Hall of Fame quarterback. Like, it's not Tua and Ryan Fitzpatrick. It's not all of these other, Tyrod Taylor and Justin Herbert. Like, Matt Ryan is a legit Hall of Fame quarterback. Like, fans aren't going to be calling for Trey Lance if this happens halfway through the season, and they won't have to worry about listening to the crowd noise and all that kind of shenanigans. But I agree with the pick. It's what I would do as well. But number 5 is, I think, where the first real debate of the draft came up. It was for the Cincinnati Bengals, whether it was going to be Penei Sewell, Kyle Pitts, or Jamar Chase. I think they couldn't go wrong with any of those situations. But overall, ultimately, I went with Penei Sewell. The Bengals, the thought process behind it was, even if they pick Jamar Chase and he has a great rookie season, the Bengals are still probably missing the playoff. So you build in the trenches, build for years to come, and I think Penei Sewell is the top option with that in mind. So that's my pick at number 5.
Yeah, that's kind of one of your can't miss prospects. He had a great college career, not giving up pressures or sacks, whatever. So Bengals could really help Joe Burrow. I mean, obviously you want to give him weapons, but you also need to protect him, especially coming off an injury like that. So moving on, number 6, Miami Dolphins traded down and then traded back up. I think, I mean, again, you go if Penei Sewell falls, Kyle Pitts, Jamar Chase, you can't go wrong here again. Yeah. I go Kyle Pitts. I think they brought in Marvin Jones Jr. They got Devontae Parker still. So they have a couple weapons on the outside. I think bringing in Kyle Pitts would really help the middle of the field. You have Mike Gesicki, but he has had injury issues. And I just think Kyle Pitts, you can put him anywhere on the field, and he's the best athlete in this draft by far. And I think he comes in day one and just tears it up.
Yeah, Mike Gesicki is not the type of player who's going to stop you from drafting the best player possibly in the draft. So number 7, this happened to us last year. I think if they get the chance, it's definitely going to happen again this year. When I'm talking about Minnesota, last year drafting Justin Jefferson, wide receiver LSU. This year, the Detroit Lions with the 7th overall pick. I said this when we were going through the process earlier. If this were to happen, it's the fastest draft pick in NFL history in terms of the card being ran up to the commissioner. So on, it's done. Jamar Chase, wide receiver, LSU, number 7, Detroit Lions.
Yeah,
and
no need for explanation.
He pisses Packers fans off for a decade to come.
Yeah, he could be Calvin Johnson 2.0, and he just destroy us. But moving on, number 8. Went back and forth through this. Panthers need a lot of help in a lot of areas. I think Coach Rule really went all defense last year. I think they got a couple pieces that they really like. Jeremy Chin on the defense is a potential star, but I think they addressed the O-line issues. A lot of people have Mac Jones going here, but I think they go O-line to really ensure protecting whoever they bring in at quarterback. They could get a solid quarterback in the second, third round as well. I am going Rashawn Slater out of Northwestern. I think he can move across the line, and it's a solid pick.
Yep. For me, again, back-to-back picks where this falls the way it is. Teams are just running the cards up to the commissioner. With the 9th overall pick, the Denver Broncos select Micah Parsons. He's fast, strong, he's good.
Yeah. The only thing is off the field issues, but he can play football. He can play football. That's all that matters at that point. Is he can't beat
he's a football player.
Yep. So I get the liberty of choosing the Cowboys at number 10.
Get the Cowboys and the Bears, actually.
Yeah. So
think about
it. Yay. But Cowboys, I think it's another pretty easy pick for me. Patrick Surtain, cornerback, Alabama. He's probably the best corner in this draft, at least initial talent-wise. I think he fits a Cowboy, and he looks like a Cowboy. So that's why I would pick Patrick Surtain at number 10.
Yeah. Number 11, the New York Football Giants. The pick, first of all, offensive lineman. Some people see him as a tackle. Some people see him as a guard. Elijah Vera Tucker, lineman from USC. Someone I think who is rising up a lot of draft boards. And the reason why I personally would make this pick is the New York Giants are giving Daniel Jones every opportunity to prove that he is the guy, or at least to prove that he is not the guy. Like, if he has an okay season, so be it. But if he sharts the bed, they know he's just not the guy. Between Kenny Galladay, everything else that they've done this offseason, last offseason they were active as well. I think this is the pick to protect him, cut down on the turnovers. So Elijah Vera Tucker, offensive lineman to the New York Giants.
Yep. At number 12, Eagles. Eagles could go 1,000 different ways. They need help just about anywhere. People haven't taken a quarterback. I don't. I think I would let Jalen Hurts start a full year, let him get comfortable with the system and everything, and just see what he can really do. So provide him with a weapon. And who else better than to pick Devontae Smith? I think he is Devonta Smith. Sorry, not Devontae. Just used to saying Tay. But Devonta Smith, another Bama wide receiver, can't miss prospect. The size is a little scary, but I think his just pure athleticism really will take him and give him a good year with Philly, especially he did play with Jalen Hurts a little bit, so he maybe got a little, maybe give him a little chemistry there, and we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah. Number 13, we have the Los Angeles Chargers. They could have gone cornerback. They could have gone offensive line. Ultimately, same thing kind of as the Giants. I went with wide receiver Jalen Waddle out of Alabama. They have the slot guy in Keenan Allen. They have the big-bodied guy in Mike Williams. Now they get the deep threat, Jalen Waddle. you just give your rookie of the year quarterback Justin Herbert all the weapons and let loose. So Jalen Waddle 13 to the Chargers.
Yeah, at 14, Minnesota Vikings again could go various ways. I think they sure up that O-line. I mean, another very good tackle, and Christian Dershaw out of Virginia Tech. I would take him because they always have a lot of question marks on that O-line against for the Vikings. So just give them another young body up front really would help them. I mean, even though they need a corner, they need a safety, they need D-line, they need a linebacker. So, but I think I would address the O-line first, especially because you paid Dalvin Cook. So give your workhorse some protection and Kirk Cousins, maybe he does a little bit better with, 0.5 more seconds,
Yeah, Dersaw's a great run blocker, good enough at pass protection. And then he, excuse me, he's versatile too. He could left tackle, right tackle. Ezra Cleveland, who the Vikings picked last year, was on my do not draft in the first round list. He played a little bit of inside last year. He may bounce out to outside, but we'll see. Number 15, again, a lot of people have Mac Jones going here to the Patriots. Again, this is what I would do if I'm the GM. If I'm the GM, I'm giving up a 5th round pick eventually for Jimmy G. God knows he's not gonna go for much. He's got a big contract and he's not very good, but Bill Belichick will get the best out of him. So J.C. Horn, cornerback, South Carolina. Bill Belichick knows how to get the best out of his corners, his athletes. So I think for me, that was a pretty easy pick there.
Yeah, and he's really flying up the draft board, so I could easily see that there, especially with them already talking about shipping off Gilmore. So that makes a lot of sense there. At number 16, the Arizona Cardinals. They brought in a lot of pieces this year. A.J. Green, J.J. Watt, obviously. Already have Kyler in the 3rd year. You got Old Fitz. You got D-Hop. I mean, this team is a couple pieces away. You could either go corner here or running back. I go running back in Najee Harris. I think that he could be that missing piece of that offense to really make him really dangerous in the NFC West.
Do you think Najee Harris is a better fit than Travis Etienne here, or do you just think he's the better running back, or both?
I think they're both can't miss running backs. I feel like, they're both eerily similar. I like Najee Harris more, just because I've watched him since high school. I thought he was an absolute beast. So just personally, I like Najee Harris more.
Perfect. Number 17, the Las Vegas, almost at Oakland, Raiders are on the clock. For me here, I think they could have gone almost anywhere except for edge rusher and running back, to be fair, because they've had a terrible offseason. I'm going to possibly butcher this kid's name, but I am going with safety Trayvon Moehrig. The safety out of TCU, center field type safety. Just let him be back there, make plays, force turnovers, do what he's supposed to do. And then we got number 18 on the clock now. Speaking of,
back with Miami Dolphins, talked about Travis Etienne for the Cardinals. I'm going Travis Etienne for the Dolphins. Like I said, a couple can't miss running backs. Don't go. I mean, you could flip flop either of those at 16, 18. I think it really helps your offense. But I would pick Travis Etienne here. They also needed a running back this offseason. Didn't really get anybody. They got Carlos Hyde. Not your running back for the future, but I think Etienne could really help that offense. I mean, you give Tua weapons around the board, and
Kyle Pitts and Travis Etienne added to that offense.
Yeah, I mean,
Yikes!
No,
That's
it could be scary.
yeah. All right, here is the probably one
Washington
of the
football
more
team.
questionable picks of the first round. Number 19, the Washington football teams. Um, Again, I think personally that this is a luxury pick for them. This offseason, bringing in Curtis Samuel, bringing in um, Ryan Fitzpatrick to hold down the quarterback position for now. He's getting old. He's the old gunslinger. We all know the Ryan Fitzpatrick story. So I could have gone with JOK from Notre Dame. That was the second pick. But ultimately, the Washington football team in the first round selects quarterback Mac Jones from Alabama. I think it's one of those where if Fitzpatrick struggles, I think Mac Jones is ready. He's a smart, game manager kind of kid. But if Fitzpatrick does well, whatever, it's a 1-year deal. They're not going to bring him back and sign him long term for the Washington Potatoes.
Yeah, now I get the luxury to pick for the Chicago Bears. They're going punter. I'm kidding. They're not going punter.
The
They should.
Bears.
Or they could go any way, but I went for them. I went cornerback Caleb Farley out of Virginia Tech. Losing Kyle Fuller probably really hurts a lot more. They could go. I mean, you could go wide receiver. You could go O-line. You could go quarterback. You could go this, but I'm going cornerback. They need to help that defense. I mean, they got a lot of question marks across the board, but I think instant fit would be Caleb Farley.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's an instant fit in most defenses. There's an injury history that is probably pushing him down the boards, but injury concern, I should say, it's pushing him down boards. But at this point in the first round, that's worth it. And the next guy for me is number 21 to the Indianapolis Colts. He is explosive, athletic, ginormous, and he's good at rushing the passer, which I think is one thing that the Colts could use. So out of Miami of Florida, I'm going with Gregory Rousseau, defensive end, edge, defender, to the Colts at 21.
Yeah, I mean to bolster that defensive line even more. They'll I think another instant fit on that Colts defense that's already young and hungry.
Yep.
Number 22.
Yep.
The Tennessee Titans. I'm listening to my star wide receiver, A.J. Brown, and this is who he absolutely wanted out of the draft. Elijah Moore, wide receiver out of Ole Miss. Short guy, fast guy, does a little bit everything right. I mean, I think that could really add a new dynamic to the Titans offense, who they didn't really have a burner last year. A.J. Brown is obviously a superstar, but the guy will go across the middle, go over the top, beat you over the top, deep ball. I think Elijah Moore could really help, and maybe even spread the field a little more for Derrick Henry up the middle. And I think it just adds more wrinkles to the Titans and could be really good for them.
Yeah. The New York Jets with the second overall pick, Brock picked Justin Fields. They got their captain of the future on offense. I think with a 23rd overall pick, they get their captain of the future on defense. I am going with Notre Dame. Let's just call him an athlete. It's kind of the Isaiah Simmons thing, but not as extreme. Is he a linebacker? Is he a box safety? Is he a nickel? What is he? I think he's just an all-around great player. We'll call him a linebacker, but I am going to go ahead and say with the 23rd overall pick, the New York Jets select JOK, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah from Notre Dame. They get their, like I said, captain on the offense, captain on the defense for a decade to come, I think, in this draft.
Yeah.
Jets finally get it right.
It
is.
If we're drafting, they get it right? Number 24, the Pittsburgh Steelers lost a couple pieces. Could use a couple pieces on the defense to really help on the outside. Obviously, you have Minka Fitzpatrick at safety, but could go corner. But I'm going where they probably missed the most is on that offensive line. Pouncey retired this offseason, so I think they bring in a center. Creed Humphrey out of Oklahoma. I think he's a very pro-ready center. Could really solidify that O line and even give Ben some more time. I mean, they could go quarterback here too. I mean, we all know Ben's on his way out. They have all the wide receivers that they can get. They could also use a running back here, but I'm solidifying that O line first, and you can get a steal in the second, third, fourth round.
Yeah. Number 25, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars. Initially here, I was this close to either going with Rashad Bateman or Rondale Moore for the Jacksonville Jaguars, but just kind of like I mentioned earlier with the Bengals, build in the trenches. As long as you're picking the right guys while building in the trenches, obviously, it's the way to go. So I'm going with someone who I would love to see on the Green Bay Packers. But I'm going to go with interior defensive lineman Christian Barmore from Alabama for Jacksonville at the 25th pick in the first round.
Yeah, a complete beast in the middle, and we saw that in the playoff games for Bama. At 26, the Cleveland Browns, I believe that they Myles Garrett needs a little help on the offense or the defensive line getting pressure. I think the Browns go and get Kwity Paye. He fell a little bit. I know a lot of people had him in the top 15. I think he falls a little bit just based off potential alone. I think he's a good player. He kind of reminds me of Rashawn Gary when Green Bay picked him around this same slot. They project him a little higher. Falls because you're only basing it off potential. But I think Kwity Paye could make an instant impact on that Cleveland Browns defense.
Yeah. Number 27, we have the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore tried and failed to get Kenny Golladay. They tried and failed to get Juju. They tried and failed to get basically every other wide receiver who they were rumored to be interested in this offseason. They did get themselves Sammy Watkins. Woo! So with that being said, we are getting Lamar Jackson, really good running back, a wide receiver here. We are going with Rashad Bateman, wide receiver, Minnesota. I think he's sure-handed. He's not one of those burners, but he's just one of those guys who can be the clutch receiver when they need him. He reminds me of similar-ish to a Dez Bryant, but not Dez Bryant of last year. Dez Bryant of what seems like 10 years ago. I know it wasn't that long, but he reminds me a little bit of a Dez Bryant type. So I think the Ravens get their guy to go along with Hollywood Brown, who's just really fast, and that's about it. So
can run
Rashad Bateman and a half route to the Ravens.
At number 28, the New Orleans Saints select cornerback Greg Newsome II. I think he fits that defense who has been troubled by playoff performances by their secondary / defense. Yes, they could go get a quarterback because do you trust Jameis Winston? Do you trust Taysom Hill? Go get more offensive weapons. I could see that, but I think they go corner in the first round and figure out everything else in the later of the draft. I would go Greg Newsome here.
All right, number 29. We got the Green Bay Packers. Brock, what if I told you that there was a a Devin White, Patrick Queen, Kenneth Murray type in this draft. But he's like, I believe he's like 6'4", maybe.
Yeah, he's
yeah. What have I told you? You know, great at rushing the passer, great at dropping into coverage, can handle his own to get off blocks. Just one of those guys where I told you the Packers could get him at 29 and he'd be Pro Bowl caliber for the next decade. I think you and I maybe subconsciously struggled not having another team pick him because we want him that badly. I know I'm slightly guilty of it. There's a couple teams who could use a linebacker, but for me, he is my number one. He is my favorite player in the draft. I think wherever he goes, I think he wins Defensive Rookie of the Year in his first year. Again, I think he's a Pro Bowler. I am going with linebacker Zaven Collins out of Tulsa. I think he's just going to be an absolute beast. I think it's one of those can't miss late first round prospects.
Probably going to get a lot of heat for that not picking wide receiver there.
It was Zaven Collins at 1 and then like 3A and 3B. That's how big of a gap it is for me. Was Rondale Moore, and after Terrace Marshall blew up his combine today, one of those two. I know you and I talked about it. I could also see them trading down. Let's say, I don't know, Jacksonville with the first pick of round 2. And one of those round. 4 guys is definitely still available. Yeah. So, but Zaven Collins, linebacker, Tulsa, is the pick for now at least. See.
Yeah, I love the pick. I mean, we both watched a lot of tape on him, and he is fast. He just pursues the ball from a running back to the quarterback to the wide receiver. He's all across the field. He is probably your true sideline to sideline linebacker, the next closest to Blake Martinez, as we all know. So, moving on, number 30, the Buffalo Bills have that pick. Buffalo's got a good team. I mean, they are pretty well rounded. They got decent running game. They got great passing game with Josh Allen, and now Stephon Diggs really emerging and making that offense really pop. But I'm going to the defensive side for them. I'm going edge rusher Azeez Ojulari out of Georgia. He is a strong, long, fast edge rusher. I think that could really help that Buffalo Bills defense, who at times struggled to pressure the quarterback, especially in the late in the season and in the playoffs. Obviously, can't get after Mahomes.
Yeah, he's a guy who we had to look up some tape on, prior to doing this, just to see, what kind of an edge rusher he is. It's not just edge rusher. It's, is he a long, explosive guy? Is he a short, stronger guy? And I definitely think it is a good pick for them. Again, I think it's one of those. It's almost a luxury pick. They don't need a ton. They just need a guy come in and help provide some depth at certain positions. Yeah. So
I think for me, the only position they really need is of need. I would say a true tight end, because they shuffle like 4 or 5 different guys at tight end.
Yeah.
But I don't have any other tight end outside of Kyle Pitts within my first 3 rounds, really. That is really top tier talent. So them going defensive side, really, I would think that would really help that team.
Yeah. For me, at number 31, we have the Kansas City Chiefs. I was considering here 2 different people. I was considering Kadarius Toney, because what would I do if I'm the Chiefs? Add more speed at the receiver position. Weapons. Why not? But ultimately, what it came down to is the fact that they got their asses handed to them in the Super Bowl. Yes, they were without a couple of starting offensive linemen who were
They released both of them.
hurt or COVID list, whatever it was. Yeah, I know they were out without the doctor who opted out at the beginning of the season. So they're gonna get better there. They made a splash signing in free agency as well. But I am going with offensive tackle Tevin Jenkins from Oklahoma State. Look him up on the Google machine. He is the baby-faced assassin. He looks like he could be 15, but he is going to be a dominant, I believe, edge protector. Patrick Mahomes, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and the rest of the Kansas City offense. So Tevin Jenkins, 31 to the Chiefs.
Yeah, at number 32, the Super Bowl champions, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, brought back pretty much their whole entire team. They are getting older, so they have to build for the future. So why not build more on the defense? I think Bruce Arians loves his defense that he has now. Has already a couple young studs back there. Antoine Whitfield is probably a leader of that young defense, potential leader. But I am going. This guy ran a 4.37 in his pro day. Edge rusher, Jason Owa. He didn't really have that big production at the college level, but he's drawing comparisons to Danielle Hunter, who also didn't have very productive college career, but now look at him. He's top tier edge rushers, DNs in the league. So with drawing that kind of comparison really made me look at him a little bit more. I think he could really help that defense with old JPP and just learning from those guys, and could really, for the future, could really help that Buccaneers defense immensely.
Yeah. I mean, bringing back everybody on their roster again, it's you're just planning for the future. You got the older guys, can't really go wrong with that. So
yeah.
I mean that's gonna basically do it.
Solid first round.
Round one 1.0. I don't think there are too many picks that fans of other teams are just gonna come out and be overly upset with. I'll be honest. I could see the Elijah Moore pick ruffling some feathers from
what AJ Brown
Tennessee
wants.
fans. What does AJ Brown know? I could see the running back picks bothering people, just because there's the group of, oh, you don't draft running back in the first round, you can find a running back anywhere. Well, whatever. If he's a good player, you pick him in the first round. And again, for myself, I could see the Elijah Vera Tucker pick. A lot of Giants fans thinking that was possibly a reach, and we didn't do trades at all with this mock draft. Maybe next time we'll open it up to trades, and if there's a situation where we think a team could or should trade down, just play it by ear and go from there. But like I said, not too bad of a first mock draft for us, I think.
Yeah, I definitely think we hit a lot of needs. Maybe not everybody's first need that they want, but I think overall, talent-wise, I think they fit very well, and I think we did a pretty good job. But we aren't the experts, so what do we know? Am I right? So we'll see. We'll continue to watch all the trades, all the mock drafts, all the pro days, and keep watching film. I mean, let us know what you think, who your team should draft. I know we have some Bears fans, we have some Vikings fans, we got Cowboys fans, Giants fans. Just let us know who you Broncos. Ravens. We got a little bit of everybody, so let us know who you want where. But until next time, maybe Matt will have a clear screen, so we don't gotta be discussing. You at least get to look at my ugly mug for 30 minutes, or if you just listen to us while you're driving, you don't have to look at Matt, and that's always a good thing. So That being said, make sure you go check out our newest top 5. It is our top 5 snack foods. Let us know what you think about those. Any suggestions for that? Stay tuned also for our full 7-round Packer draft we will do here in the upcoming weeks. And until next time, guys, like, share, follow. Stay tuned. We got big things coming.